Hello and welcome to New English Story. Today's story begins with something small, a childhood dare, but grows into a lesson that lasted a lifetime. It's about fear, pride, failure, and the quiet courage that forms when no one is watching. Let's begin. I grew up in a quiet town in Tasmania, Australia, on a narrow street where every house looked similar but every childhood felt enormous. The days were long, the summers endless, and even the smallest challenges felt like life or death missions. Back then, we didn't know we were learning lessons. We thought we were just playing. At the edge of my family's backyard stood an old eucalyptus tree, tall, twisted, unforgiving, its branches stretched wide like arms that dared you to come closer. The older kids claimed it was impossible to climb. The younger ones believed them. That tree wasn't just a tree, it was a legend. One afternoon during a neighborhood gathering, someone said my name. Then came the words that still echo in my memory. I dare you. I laughed it off at first, but laughter fades quickly when eyes are watching. Pride stood up where caution should have been. I wasn't brave. I was afraid of being small, afraid of being remembered as the one who backed down. Childhood courage often wears the mask of fear. So I said yes, not because I wanted to climb the tree, but because I didn't want to climb down in everyone's eyes. The bark was rough against my palms. The smell of sap filled the air. My heart pounded louder than the laughter behind me. Every step upward made the ground feel farther away. Fear doesn't shout, it whispers. You can still stop. Halfway up, my foot slipped. Not enough to fall, but enough to wake reality. The laughter stopped. Silence replaced it. Fear had arrived fully now. And it didn't care about pride. I couldn't go up. I couldn't go down. My arms trembled. My breath shortened. For the first time, I felt truly trapped, not by the tree, but by my own decision. Eventually, I climbed down, slowly, carefully. When my feet hit the ground, I didn't feel relief. I felt shame, no applause, no encouragement, just quiet disappointment, most of it my own. That night I avoided mirrors, avoided conversation, avoided myself. Failure feels heavier when it happens publicly. I told myself I'd forget it. Childhood promises are easy to make and easy to break. Years passed. The tree stayed. The dare stayed too, not as embarrassment, but as a question. Why did that moment matter so much? Why did it follow me? At 27, living in Wellington, New Zealand, I faced a different kind of climb, public speaking, a presentation that could change my career. The same feeling returned, tight chest, shaking hands. The old fear had found me again. Standing there in that conference room, waiting for my name to be called, I suddenly felt 8 years old again, the same tightness in my chest, the same heat in my hands, the same quiet voice whispering that I could still escape. That was when it hit me. This wasn't about public speaking at all. This feeling had followed me for years. It appeared every time I was asked to step forward, to be visible, to risk failure. The tree had never been the problem. The problem was my fear of being seen while trying. I realized how often fear had disguised itself as logic. I had avoided opportunities by calling them not the right time. I had stayed quiet by telling myself I was being practical. Fear had learned my language and spoken fluently through my decisions. And because it felt reasonable, I never questioned it. Until now. As a child, I believed courage meant success, reaching the top, winning approval, proving something. But standing there as an adult, I understood how wrong that definition was. Courage wasn't about the outcome, it was about willingness, willingness to be uncomfortable, willingness to fail publicly, willingness to move forward without guarantees. When my name was called, time slowed. I felt the familiar urge to disappear, to let someone else take the risk. But this time something was different. I remembered the tree. I remembered climbing down, and I understood that I didn't want to repeat the same ending. I stood up, not confidently, not perfectly, but deliberately. My voice shook as I began. My hands trembled. I forgot a sentence and had to pause, but something unexpected happened. The fear didn't grow. It weakened. Each word spoken out loud took a little power away from it. I wasn't fearless, but I was present. And for the first time, that felt like enough. When it was over, there was polite applause. Nothing dramatic. No life-changing reaction. But inside me, something had shifted. I hadn't conquered fear. I had walked alongside it and survived. That mattered more than any applause ever could. Years later, I returned to my childhood street. The eucalyptus tree still stood, its bark more cracked, its branches heavier with time. I didn't feel challenged by it anymore. I felt grateful. That tree had introduced me to fear early and had given me decades to understand it. The lesson wasn't about climbing higher next time. It was about forgiving the child who climbed down, about understanding that growth doesn't happen in one brave moment, but in many quiet decisions to try again. Fear doesn't disappear, but it no longer decides for me. That childhood dare followed me into adulthood, not as a failure, but as a reminder. A reminder that courage isn't loud. It doesn't always win. Sometimes courage simply shows up again after years of silence. And when it does, it changes the way you live step by step. I no longer see that dare as something from the past. I carry it with me quietly into meetings, conversations, and choices that ask more from me than comfort. Whenever fear appears, I recognize it now, not as a warning to stop, but as an invitation to grow. I don't need to climb every tree life puts in front of me, but when I choose to climb, I do it knowing that courage isn't about reaching the top. It's about taking the step anyway and allowing myself to be human while doing it. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories in English. See you next time.